Hello guys, today I'll be showing you how to make a very delicious and quick and easy, because you know how I do, dinner recipe, lunch recipe, even breakfast, because I actually did have this for breakfast one of these days. And this recipe is my spicy stuffed baked sweet potatoes topped with a creamy white sauce and crispy chickpeas. Now, if you're interested to see how to make this recipe, then please do keep on watching. So first of all, you want to pierce your sweet potatoes, preferably with a fork, or you could use like a very sharp knife and pierce it around just to ensure that it cooks much faster and bakes evenly. And then you want to cover that in oil and or butter. I use butter, and put that in an oven to bake for about an hour at 180 degrees. While that is happening, you're going to make your spicy chickpeas. And to make those, you need 1 onion and 3 chilies, 3 small chilies or 2 large ones. And your spices you'll be including are 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds, and 1 teaspoon of white pepper. Give that a mix and just leave that on its own so that the spices can temper and the onions can become nice and translucent. Just a note, you guys don't have to cook your food with oil. Just by the way, I am not cooking my food with oil here, as you can see, because you know it's not by force, but instead I am using water to help deglaze the pan so that the onions can caramelize nicely and it can just become nice and brown and delicious, and the juices can just go into our sauce as a base. And then after about 5 minutes of doing this, I added about a pinch of salt. This is a very generous pinch, just by the way. You want to ensure you salt your food quite well, and you don't have to worry about adding too much because we are going to salt our food in stages. After that, after your onions and your spices have cooked for about 7 minutes, we're going to add in this brand of Mediterranean style tomatoes. And what that means is that it includes some herbs, aubergine, onions, tomatoes, garlic. It's just really delicious tomato paste, and the brand that I'm using is the Woolies one. Otherwise, a normal tomato tin can work, and like you don't need all the other extra things. I just wanted a quick way to add some veggies. And then after 5 minutes of cooking that, you're going to add in some water, mix it around, and then close for the tomatoes to cook. After about 10 minutes of the tomatoes cooking away, you're going to add in a third of the can of chickpeas. These chickpeas have been rinsed and drained. I'm not adding in the water because it is salted and I didn't want to miscalculate how much salt I added in my food. Otherwise, you know, if like, it doesn't matter, just taste, live your life, man. Anyway, I am going to be reserving a third of the chickpeas because I will be crisping them up with some barbecue sauce and spice to make them nice and crispy in the oven as a topping for our baked sweet potatoes. And following suit, you're gonna add in your barbecue sauce. And to make that, you need 1 tablespoon of tomato sauce, 1 tablespoon of butter for the buttery flavor, half a teaspoon of garlic and herb seasoning, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a teaspoon of barbecue spice. Throw your chickpeas in there, give that a nice thorough mix, and then pop that in the oven to crisp up. Really, I just put them side by side with the sweet potatoes because I don't have time for extra dishes. Otherwise, just do it in a separate pan if you like, it's fine. You can also alternatively crisp them up in an air fryer or on a pan with a little bit of oil if you want, but that does take long and requires a bit of attention, so I just put it in the oven because then I don't have to think about it all the time. And then you're going to poke it for softness to see how soft it is. As you can see, it's really soft and caramelized. So moving on to our white sauce. To a saucepan, you're going to add in a tablespoon of butter. I'm using unsalted butter because I didn't want the butter to, you know, interfere with the flavor of my white sauce. Otherwise, use whatever you have. And then you're also going to be adding in a tablespoon of chickpea flour. You could also use ordinary flour, but for protein benefits, I'm using chickpea flour because then it means when I have leftover sauce, I can have that with pasta and not feel like I'm robbing myself of protein because I'm literally using chickpea flour. After that, I'm also decided to add in half a teaspoon of black pepper and salt seasoning, as well as half a cup of milk. And then you're going to whisk that together until it comes together in a boil. In total, we're actually going to be adding in a cup of milk. We're just adding it in increments just to ensure that we don't rush the process, and also so that you can decide whether you want it to be runnier or you want your sauce to be thicker. As you can see, after whisking it for a while, the sauce does get incredibly thick. That's when I'm going to add in my next quarter cup splash of plant milk. I'm using soy milk. You can use whatever milk you have. If you're not necessarily lactose intolerant or vegan, you can use your cow milk. That's fine too. Sounds even weird saying cow milk. Anyway, we're going to give that a whisk. That's the idea here. You're trying to make it really smooth. Whisk it up really well, and after doing that and you reach the required consistency that you want, I wanted it to be runnier. I added in a bit more milk. Then you're going to add in your nutritional yeast. For those of you that do eat dairy, your nutritional yeast is basically like your Parmesan cheese, the powder, so that you can give your sauce a creamy mouthfeel as well and a delicious cheesy taste. And after doing that, you're going to let it sizzle away for about a minute or so that the flavors can combine well and be merry. And then take your saucepan off the stove so that it doesn't continue to get thicker any longer. And then you are done. Now you are ready to serve. And to serve, you will cut your sweet potatoes lengthwise in the middle so that you can make enough space to stuff them. If you like, you could alternatively also remove some of the potato from the inside to make more space for your stuffing. I didn't do this because I do love sweet potato, and I just figured I might as well then just stuff it to the brim. It's fine. And then you're going to stuff your sweet potatoes with your delicious spicy chickpeas or chicken or whatever it is that you decided to opt for if you don't like chickpeas. And after doing that, and you feel like your chickpeas are full enough with flavor, you will then top your spicy chickpeas, because they are spicy. I mean, we added a lot of chilies, with your white sauce, which, guys, is necessary, because this white sauce not only is delicious on its own, but it really helps to balance out the very, very spicy chickpea curry that I made. It's very spicy because I added quite a number of chilies. If you didn't add as much, maybe the white sauce is not necessary. No, but it definitely is. It's very delicious, so you have to add it in. Yeah, and then I'm gonna top that with my white sauce and then eat, and I'm done.